kitchen sink band. Life's an everyday adventure. That's my philosophy. Some days my parents like to sleep in. Other days they like to leave all the dishes in the sink at night and wash them the next day. Today I woke up to find both my parents sleeping in and lots of dishes soaking in the sink. After the dog and I had big morning stretches, I rolled up my sleeves and started to wash the dishes. I was hoping to be quiet enough so my parents could sleep even longer. For some reason, my toes started to tingle and dance in my moccasins. Then I noticed my head was bopping. My hips were swaying side to side, and I was singing a song in my head. I was having a doing the dishes dance party. I started getting really into things as I danced and sang. Doing the dishes had never been so much fun until I dropped the lid to a pot onto the floor. As it spun and settled, it made a funky noise. Wah, 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 wah. I wanted to pick up the lid, but I liked the funky noise it was making. I let it wah, 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 wah until the lid stopped itself. Then I picked it up and dropped it again. Then I got every lid to every pot in the kitchen and had them all making music. Yahoo! I was dancing with my pot lids when my parents flew into the kitchen. Oops, I forgot they were still asleep. I smiled and slowly said, "Good morning." They asked me what all the noise was about, and I told them how much fun I was having making musical sounds with all the dishes. They looked at each other, smiled, and sleepily began to make breakfast. My father grabbed 2 coffee cups out of the soapy water in the sink, and they clinked together. "Oh, Mr. Father, do that again!" I exclaimed. "Do what, Miss Molly?" he replied, still very tired. "The clinking of the cups. It's a great sound. I bet if we did that and we had the pot lids on the floor going—" "Wait, the toaster!" I cried with excitement. My mother had bread toasting, and when it popped, it made a great sound. "Let's do all 3 at once," I said as I got my pot lids ready on the floor. My sleepy parents looked at me as if I wasn't feeling well, but they did as I asked, and it was great. Music was everywhere. We had suddenly and unexpectedly formed a kitchen sink band. I guess my parents were having fun too, because they started to race around the kitchen finding more things to make more noises. Even opening and closing cabinets made a great beat. We also shook boxes of pasta and bags of rice. There was no end to our kitchen instruments. My father tapped a plastic food storage container, saying it was like a bongo drum. My mother was torn between playing a wooden spoon on a skillet and a whisk on a metal mixing bowl. She finally decided on the bowl and whisk because she preferred the sound they made. I stuck with my original pot lids, but now I was clanging them together like cymbals. We were so carried away with our beating and whisking and clanging that we hadn't realized we had walked ourselves all around the house. We were not just any old band. We were now a marching band. We marched ourselves right out the front door and down our street to Marco's house. Marco and his whole family were outside. It had been Marco's little sister's birthday the day before, and they were taking down the balloons and banners. They laughed when they saw us. We laughed too. Then I told them the whole story of how our band started. Suddenly, Marco's mom shouted, "I'll be right back," and dashed inside. When she came back, her arms were full of things. She placed a crown on Marco's little sister, then gave her measuring spoons to play. Next, she gave Marco 2 boxes of pasta to shake. She handed balloons to Marco's father and kept a pair of salad tongs for herself. Our band had just gotten bigger, so big that it had become a parade. Marco's father, who is a great singer, started singing some old Italian songs as we played our musical instruments and marched through our neighborhood. Next thing we knew, more people were joining us, and neighbors were passing by waving and honking. Our parade had become a block party. We continued singing and playing our music until it was time for Marco's little sister to take a nap. We all gave each other high fives and promised to do it again sometime. When we finally got home, we sat down to eat. We never did get much to eat that morning. As I looked around, I started giggling. My mother was tapping her fork on her plate, my father was shaking the ice in his glass, and I was drumming a beat on the chair with my feet. The band was back together again. Music can be found almost anywhere, even in a kitchen sink. Molly Moccasins, everyday adventurer.